When you first get into this hobby, you might think it's simple, but then eventually it becomes very overwhelming. At first you think, I'm just gonna get a glass box, fill it with water, and put a bunch of fish in there. And quickly you realize it becomes way more than that. In this hobby, you'll inevitably find yourself in emergency situations that if you don't handle them right away, you're gonna be in huge trouble. And that's not all. Your fish are in trouble too. So to help you with that, we've put together a list of the essential things that we believe every fish keeper should have, whether you have 1 aquarium or 20. If you don't have these things, I'm sorry, but you're just doing this wrong. Okay, let me give you a scenario. You're sitting down on your couch, 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. You're nice and full from a big Sunday dinner. You got the ball game on. Life is good, right? Until you look over and see your aquarium. You see that your fish just aren't acting right. They're sitting still, which is not normal, and they almost look like they're sad. Usually they're swimming around all over the place, so you go over there to investigate what's going on. Visually, nothing looks wrong, so you grab your test kit, and as soon as you dip the vial in the water, you feel it. The water is freezing. That's when you look at your thermometer and you say, the water's 68 degrees. What am I gonna do? The water is cold, my fish are miserable, and it's not like I can run out to the pet store and grab a brand new heater because, well, it's Sunday night, they're all closed. Wouldn't your life be so much easier if you had a backup heater in this situation? Listen, these kind of things never happen at a convenient time. It's always either when the store's closed or for whatever reason, you just can't run out to get another heater. Yes, it's true, you can go fill up some buckets with warm water and do an emergency water change and temporarily warm it up, but wouldn't it be so much easier to just go to the closet, grab your backup heater, and install it right away? And you don't need a backup heater for every single aquarium that you have. Just have one that's large enough to accommodate the biggest tank in your collection. You can use that one heater as a backup for all of them. Oh, and if you end up needing to use it, don't forget to replace it. If it's a Seachay, it's guaranteed for 5 years, so you can run your backup till we get you taken care of from Seachay. And let me just tell you this, no matter what any big time YouTubers tell you, getting your heater taken care of by Seachay is the easiest thing in the world to do. And I'm not just telling you this because it's what I think. I'm telling you this because I sell hundreds of these heaters, and I've had to deal with this in the past. It's what I know from experience.
A backup tank. That seems a bit extreme, doesn't it? Well, let's consider some of the reasons why you may need one. Well, first is obvious. If your main tank springs a leak, you need somewhere for the fish to be safe while you handle that, but there's several more reasons. What if one of your fish gets beat up and needs to be isolated so it can heal? What if you get a sudden pneumonia spike, or one of your fish gets sick with something contagious and you want to put them somewhere for treatment and not spread things to the other fish? These are all legitimate reasons to have another tank. It doesn't need to be something huge, just something to have for an emergency. It doesn't even need to be an actual aquarium. It could be something as simple as a tote. You need something that's going to be accessible and easy to get to when you need it. If you come home from work and find something going on with your tank, it's so much easier to just grab your extra tank and start handling the situation rather than, what am I going to do? Where am I going to put the fish? Oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need somewhere to put them. Keep something handy and ready to use. That way you're not scrambling and trying to figure out what to do at the last second.
This is something that not everybody thinks about. We know that certain water conditioners like Fritz Guard are going to remove chlorine and chloramine from the water to make it safe for your aquarium. But some water conditioners like Fritz Complete are better. They do more. They actually detoxify ammonia and nitrite in the aquarium, so that is something that can be a matter of life or death in certain situations. I'm often asked by subscribers or customers about battling ammonia spikes and how to get the tank back on track. Are you not a subscriber? Why not? It's free. The email usually goes like this: My ammonia is spiking because I added a bunch more fish. I've cleaned the gravel, cleaned out my filter, done a 25% water change, and the ammonia keeps coming back. I don't know what to do. My answer is always the same. Slow down, stop messing around with your substrate and filter, just take water out and put fresh water in every day until things settle down, and use Fritz Complete or Seachem Prime to detoxify the ammonia. This will allow the tank to do what it needs to do, and it'll save the fish at the same time. The biggest thing to remember though is these products don't fix the problem, so it's not a permanent solution. It simply detoxifies the ammonia so the fish can get through it. I don't want you to just be like, yeah, my ammonia is always high. I just put Fritz Complete in there. No big deal. Yeah, it is a big deal. You're basically spraying Febreze rather than getting rid of the source of the smell. Seachem Prime and Fritz Complete don't fix the problem. They just help your fish get through it while you fix it.
A thermometer? Really? You don't think people already have those?
You'd be surprised.
All right, let's do it. Remember earlier when John was talking about having a backup heater in case your first one breaks? Other than putting your hand in a tank just to see if it's, cold or hot, how else are you going to figure out what the temperature is? Temperature is a critical thing to prevent stress and illness in your aquarium. Modern heaters are really good, but it's irresponsible to just set the temperature and not monitor things. You could have your heater set to 80, but your tank is right next to a drafty window and has an air conditioning vent directly above it. Those things would be blowing cold air down on your tank or above or whatever, wherever the vent is or wherever the window is. And you won't even know if there's a fluctuation change with the temperature. But if you had a thermometer, you would know. Plus, in the next segment, John's going to be talking about power outages. If your power goes out, how are you going to monitor the temperature in your tank? I know it's common sense, but make sure you get a good one. Those sticky looking ones that come in a kit that you stick on the side of your aquarium, they're nothing but trash. Just get a real one. They're so much better.
Think about this for a second. Are you involved in any groups online, Facebook groups, whatever kind of groups, and you see one day somebody posts, "Help, I don't know what I'm doing. My fish are dying and I have this huge problem. I don't know what to do. What should I do in this situation?" If you've seen that, you've also seen that the first response to that question every single time is going to be, what are your water parameters? There's a reason this is the first question asked to try to help this situation. It's because the resolution to this problem will be determined by what the ammonia, nitrite, pH, and nitrates are. It's kind of like the doctor asking what your symptoms are while he or she's checking your blood pressure and looking in your ears and nose. Without this information, it's hard to know where to start. So that is where a master test kit comes in handy. Keeping a master test kit around is another thing that could be life or death for your fish. When you notice a problem, test the water. Look at the results and use that information to come up with a strategy to resolve it. If the test shows no ammonia, nitrite, or nitrate, and the pH is normal, you know it might be a parasite or some kind of bacteria that needs to be treated with medication. But if the test shows you have high nitrates, it's a completely different strategy. See the problem, assess the problem, start to fix the problem. This is so much better than just scrambling around not knowing what to do. If you don't have a test kit, you ain't gonna be able to do any of this. And listen, there's a huge problem online. You've seen it and I've seen it. There just isn't anyone out there with the balls to call it out. It's gotten to the point where when someone says, "I have a problem and I don't know what to do," the water tests perfectly, but there's still a problem. I can practically see through the computer and know what's going on. This person has a problem in their tank and they want an immediate, easy, and fast way to fix it, but they haven't tested a damn thing. They just know that's going to be the first thing people ask, so they get it out of the way. How could I possibly know this? Well, I've been in the online fish keeping community since 2011. I've seen everything. Plus, I've had conversations with these people and it almost always ends up the same thing. When they say their water tests perfectly, they just mean they've looked at it, it looks normal, and the temperature's right. This is the most important step to solving any problems. Do not cheap out. Get yourself a test kit. It is a must-have.
Let me ask you a question. How many times have you been sick? You've gone to the doctors, they prescribed you antibiotics, and you get home, you start taking them, and you feel better, and you don't finish taking them. Have you done that? I mean, we all have, right? I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying we've kind of all done that. Unless you're perfect and you do exactly what the doctor says, some of you all are like that, but not all of us. Well, between me and John and our 5 kids, there's been tons and tons of antibiotics in this house. This means there's been tons of them left over. This means I accumulated a bunch of them over the years. You don't know how many times me or John came down with something and we were like, I don't have time to go to the doctor. Here, just take these. And the problem goes away. And no, I didn't do that with the kids, just me and John. I gotta tell you, it was nice to be able to do that. Instead of setting up an appointment, waiting at the doctor's office with all the other sick people just for him to prescribe the exact same pills I have at home. Instead, we just took them and fixed the problem right away. I am not suggesting that you do that. Only with your fish. Okay, let me clear that up. I'm not suggesting you give antibiotics your doctor prescribed for you to your fish. I'm saying have some that are made for fish ready to use if something goes wrong. Because think about it. It's the same as with us. You realize you have a sick fish, you do your research and find out it needs an antibiotic, so you order it. It takes 2 to 3 days to get to you, and by that time, it's too late. Instead of doing that, order it ahead of time, have it on hand, be prepared so that if your fish does get sick, you have it and you can give it to them immediately. It could be a matter of life or death for your fish.
Lisa and I live in a very rural area and we love it out here. We love just kind of being left alone. But there's an issue with living out in the middle of nowhere like this, completely surrounded by farmland, and that is if the power goes out, we're not very high on the priority list of the power company to come out here and get it back on. It's common sense that we need power to run our aquariums and to keep things running smooth. Well, when the power goes out, what are you going to do to make sure you can get your fish through this? Well, I've got several suggestions. They start out cheap and get way more expensive as we go. First is something simple like a battery-operated air pump. Yes, heaters and filters are important too, but in an emergency situation, at least keeping that water moving, keeping oxygen running through the tank could be the matter of life or death. Next would be something like a large battery pack or whatever you want to call it. I did a video on some of these a couple of years ago. They're a pretty good option, but there's 2 downsides to them. One is their batteries. So when the battery runs out and you still don't have power, how are you going to recharge them? And the second is, well, they're expensive. Really expensive. And last would be a generator. Now, of course, we would all love to have one of those whole house generators that just kicks on when the power goes out and you never even know that it happened. But if you're anything like me, you're not rich enough to have one of those. So the next best thing is just going to be your regular old gas-powered generator. Lisa and I went to Lowe's and bought 2 large generators last year because there was this huge storm coming through that everybody was afraid of, and we just figured there's probably going to be some pretty severe power outages. We went and paid big money to get these 2 things, and of course the power never went off. It never even flickered. But hey, it was nice to have them just in case. You know, the more I think of it, the power hasn't gone out for more than like a minute or 2 since we went out and spent $1,000 on those 2 generators. I guess if you don't want your power to ever go out, go buy generators. But the point is, it's nice to be prepared if things go wrong. If we lose power for a long time, we can hook those up, fire them up, and keep our tanks going. And when the gas runs out, just go get more. Yeah, gas is expensive, but so is replacing your fish. You know, I just realized we've never even fired up those generators. I guess that's a good thing. But anyway, there you go. Now you know the things that you should have readily available on standby just in case things go wrong. You can be prepared for everything. A lot of the things we talked about on this list are available on our website, keepfishkeeping.com. Obviously, we do not sell generators and all of that kind of stuff, but a lot of the aquarium related stuff we do have on the website. We'd love for you to go over there and order it from us. And hey, listen, did you like our list? Do you want to see 3 more things that every single fish keeper should have? Well, if you want to, click the join button down below, become a channel member, and you're not only going to get bonus features from this week's video, but you're going to get them from every Sunday video. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. See ya.